Hello, loves. It's been a little while since I've posted an episode. I was having a bump in the road and technical issues at the same time. So that was my clue that it just wasn't the right time for me to post another episode. So today I want to talk about dismissive comments and false sense of safety. I was having a discussion today with another therapist about this very thing in the covert ways that people seem nice, they smile, and yet they're extremely dismissive of what you're explaining. And how in our mind, we see the smile, we feel the covert jabs, the dismissive behavior, but we're stumped in that moment. We don't know how to respond sometimes. Much of what we've learned in society, at least in my lifetime, is to just suck it up and don't make a big deal out of it. And so I had a conversation with someone a couple weeks ago at the school. Everything I said was dismissed by other people are experiencing it. I go through that too. I'm doing that too. Everyone's experiencing that. That's extremely dismissive of your experience. It's not asking questions. It's not even being curious about what the person's experiencing. It's designed to cut you off and shut you up. This person was in a high position who was trained in psychology and therapy, and likely she knew exactly what she was doing. But dismissive behavior like that can feel dismissive. At the same time, the kind smile, warm voice, and all of that also sends a message. Somehow you are supposed to feel safe in that moment. Well, for me, I didn't feel safe at all. My nervous system was going crazy. I was shaking. I was stuttering. I was having a hard time explaining what I needed to say. And I was confused in my brain because I knew the behaviors were dismissive, and I didn't feel safe in the conversation at all. So as I was talking to this other therapist today, we were having a discussion about how there's so many covert toxic behaviors that are brushed off. And a lot of them come from trained therapists. And it's sad, really, because their training should include that as part of being trauma-informed, or just plain being human and having a compassionate heart, not to be dismissive. So that led our conversation into telling people they're safe. And she and I agreed that that's not okay. The only people that can decide if you're safe is you. That's it. Other people don't get to decide that for you. And for me, that's a massive red flag. You're safe. Okay, well, that's a personal decision for me to decide that. But a lot of people don't understand. And so when someone tells them they're safe, they likely might believe it. They might follow through with, oh, I'm safe. I'll be vulnerable. Safety is the inside job. Just same place that our nose come from, same place that our boundaries come from. As sovereign beings, we have the right to decide how we feel about a situation. And so when you train people to feel safe when they don't feel safe, it confuses them. And it can also condition them to not really trust when they're unsafe. Both these covert behaviors are designed to control someone. Because if you didn't want to control them, why would you sit there and dismiss everything that they said as if it didn't matter and it had no value at all? So when you decide that someone's safe for them, that's controlling. It's manipulative. And I think in relationships, we don't even realize we do this, especially with our families, we don't. We just go along because that's the way they've always been, and we don't question it when we're walking around feeling awful. And those people are unhealed. They don't know. They've probably been doing it for generations. It's passed down. I know in my family it's like that. Dismissive behavior is just status quo. And anything you say, they're going to dismiss it. So you just learn to keep your mouth shut. Except for the couple of narcissists that are in my family, and then obviously they get to say how they feel and have others just validate it. And growing up, that's confusing. Why does so-and-so have their feelings validated and then mine are dismissed? Why am I constantly being told I'm safe when I don't feel safe? In my mind, there's no excuse for a trained therapist to be exhibiting those behaviors. Obviously, their education failed them in some way. And in relationships in general, you want to pay attention to those behaviors. If your partner or the person you're dating is dismissing what you're saying, you're feeling, or experiencing as if, well, everybody goes through that. Stop and take a look at that. Is that how you want to continue on with someone in a relationship? Or do you want to be with someone that says, oh, wow, that sounds stressful. I can understand why you're feeling this way. Or I hear from a lot of women, and I've experienced this myself in the past, where men say, oh, I'm a safe man. I'm a good man. You have nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, how many times have I been in a relationship where a man told me he was a good man and he was safe when it turned out he was not? So you want to be careful about the false sense of safety and listen to your gut. You get to decide if he's a safe man or not. And I would question the fact that he needs to be so overt about it. Telling someone they're safe because you say they are is just as dismissive as telling someone that what they're experiencing right now, everyone experiences. They're both very dismissive. And there's a reason why people do that. It's important that you educate yourself on dismissive behavior so that you can go out and date, have relationships, and understand when you're being validated and when you're being dismissed. And have you ever sat across the table from someone, having a dinner, possibly romantic, and you're talking and sharing, and he's telling you his story about something he's going through, and you're being very empathetic and compassionate, and then you start sharing, and he's just very dismissive? Oh, I've been through that too. Everyone's gone through it. You see the difference in the dynamics there? It's not equal. But I've talked to a lot of women who feel like they're a free therapist when they go on a date. And that their role is to sit there and listen to whatever he needs to say about what his exes did or how badly he was hurt and his heart was broken. And there is no time for you. You have dinner, you listen to his problems, you chit-chat a little bit, and that's it. And how do you feel when you leave a date like that? Were you actually paying attention to the fact that it was very one-sided? Do you even notice how you feel after it's over? Or are you so focused on whether he's going to accept or reject you that you just dismiss yourself? And here's the important part. If you're used to dismissing yourself, it's going to be hard for you to notice when others dismiss you. Loving yourself and accepting yourself, flaws and all, is part of self-care. It's part of having a conscious relationship with yourself. And in order to be in a conscious relationship with someone else, it's important that you have a conscious relationship with yourself. It's so very important that you listen to the parts of you that feel dismissed when you leave a date, or when you're in a family gathering, or when you're sitting there having a therapy session. And sometimes it can be hard for kind, compassionate women to speak up because society has trained us not to. Just let it go. And yet, it's very empowering when we come up with the courage to say, that didn't feel so good. I'm wondering if maybe you could rephrase that. It felt very dismissive. And I'm feeling sad right now. There's a multitude of ways you can frame the response, but the important part is that you express that it wasn't okay. And you don't have to be angry. You could just communicate it clearly. That felt dismissive. And this is something that I have to continue to work on, because when I was in that meeting 2 weeks ago, I didn't speak up and say that felt very dismissive. But I noticed that my nervous system started getting more and more dysregulated. The conversation went on. My nervous system was trying to tell me this is not a safe conversation for you to be in. And it turns out it was not a safe conversation for me to be in, because a multitude of things happened after that conversation. It's important that we get to the point where we catch ourselves being super nice and smiling when inside we just feel like they dismissed our feelings. We don't have to fawn. We can just say, wow, that just didn't feel right. That didn't sit well with me. So telling someone they're safe when they haven't even checked in with you to see how you're actually feeling is very controlling and dismissive. And so when dating, it's very important that you focus on your safety first and foremost, above whether or not you're going to get rejected or accepted. You have to realize that this day and time, we don't just throw safety to the wind and just hope that he's not going to do something. We seriously have to be aware, pay attention to the red flags, and have a plan. And this isn't designed to scare you. This is just a reality wake-up call. If somebody tells you you're safe, maybe that would be your sign that you're not safe. Because I often say, well, that's something I get to decide over time, whether I'm safe with you or not. I hear about violence all the time against women in dating. I speak of it occasionally. It's heartbreaking, actually. The best thing you can do is really be attuned to when people are being extremely disrespectful of your feelings and your emotions and your experiences. And this is where keeping a journal is very, very important, that you write these things down so you can go back and check them later. and say, wow, yeah, my gut was really screaming loudly that this was not safe. And I continued on anyway and found out that my gut was right. Just like my nervous system was spot on when that conversation did not feel safe. That's all the time we have for today. I hope that was helpful. Until next time, stay conscious, pay attention, and if you don't, notice.